Hello folks, this is Solo speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. Well, this is the opening day of set 9.5, the second half of set 9. I think the official name is Horizon Bound, but I think everybody's just going to call it set 9.5. Like a lot of the other mid-set updates, it's not really that different from the first half of the set, but there's a few new things here. We'll talk about some of the changes in this set. And in fact, we're going to see one of the new traits featured in this particular game. Because as it turns out, set 9.5, not especially well balanced here on the initial day of release, and that's not that surprising. All right, here on the initial portal, we have our choice of a couple of different ones. These were all portals that were in the first half of the set, and I'm apparently the one who gets the portal chosen, which is going to be Classic Industries. This one gives you additional gold every time you make a completed item. One of the portals that tends to not have that much in terms of its effects. It's one of the lesser portals in terms of how much it changes up the gameplay. It just basically injects additional economy into the game. Now, this is a double-up game. I'm playing this together with Antisocialmunky, and together the two of us are going to do our best to field boards. Antisocial is a practitioner of Kale Reroll. Now, there's been some changes here in the set. Yordle trait taken out of the set, no longer around, so he's going to have to figure out how to build his Kale reroll build, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up re-rolling for something different once he gets more accustomed to just how this set is going to work overall, because the Kale reroll build didn't feel amazing. I think Antisocial had the sense that it was decent but not amazing, and he definitely needs some more time to experiment with it. Now, as far as what I'm going to be looking to do in this game, I am going to be looking to play into the Bilgewater trait. This is one of the new traits added here in set 9.5, and as we're going to see throughout the course of this game, this trait is very highly overtuned at the moment. Very highly overtuned. In fact, it's actually game-breakingly strong. It is really crowding out every other option at the moment here on the first day of release, because it is so much stronger than every other option that people can play. Right now, I have both of the one-cost Bilgewater units on my board. I have Alawi. She is a frontline tank. Her traits are Bilgewater and Bastion, and then I also have Gangplank, who is kind of an early game carry unit, Bilgewater, Gunner, and Rogue. He's one of the units that has 3 traits. Of course, you need 3 Bilgewater units to get the trait in play, so I'm going to have to find another one of the units. All right, as far as the little legend that I'm running here, I have opted to take the Earth as the, well, not little legend, that's your characters. The legend I'm running is Earth. I need to get some more information on what the data is saying is actually strong, because we're just here at the start of the set. Now, we do have some new augments here in the set, and one of these is the one that I have right here, which is, I believe it's called Stationary Support. It gives you a training dummy, and after 8 rounds, it turns into it gains a support item on it. So this is probably the biggest change here in the set. Is the set 9.5 has reworked some of the items. They took out all of the aura and support items in the set thus far, all the aura and support items. So that means things like Zephyr, Shroud of Stillness, Chalice, Zeke's Herald, all of those items have been removed, and they've been replaced with items that are intended to be more carry-oriented. All of those support items you can still get, but you have to get them through augments or other related means. They are not makeable with standard items anymore. Fortunately, this is a good example to show this, because I am going to get a support item once that the little training dummy transforms. I believe it takes 8 combat rounds for that to happen. Now, here's the good news. I've finally been able to find another Bilgewater unit, so I can put in Twisted Fate. He is a 2-cost Bilgewater unit, Bilgewater plus Multicaster, so I'll be able to play him. And I've also picked up Kiana, because Kiana has the Rogue trait, which, by the way, has finally supposedly been fixed. Rogue trait was incredibly buggy all throughout the first half of the set, didn't really work, like, at all. But supposedly those bugs have been fixed, and Rogues are actually pretty strong right now, at least in this initial version of set 9.5. Rogues are a reroll trait. They're all 1, 2, and 3 cost units, and so you reroll for 3 stars. Not the route we're going to be going in this game. We're going to be opting to play into the Bilgewater trait instead. All right, so what exactly does this trait do? Well, I've got the cheat sheet here. I will go ahead and read the formal description here. Bilgewater is a trait with 3, 5, 7, and 9 tiers. Basically, Bilgewater units, their attacks and abilities mark enemies. The mark stores a percentage of damage dealt to the enemy by Bilgewater units. It's referring to them as Bilge Rats, but I mean, it's basically Bilgewater units. So basically, when you use basic attacks and abilities, mark enemies, and the mark stores a percentage of damage. Marked enemies are struck by a cannonball after 1.5 seconds. They deal the stored damage plus a flat value as physical damage. And then as you get more ranks in the trait, both the flat damage and the percentage mark damage stored increases over time. Now, right now, the big problem with Bilgewater is the numbers are just set way too high. As you see me hit the 2-star Graves here, the numbers are just set way too high. This trait is doing far, far too much damage, and it's crowding out, as I said, pretty much all of the other options that people can play. Bilgewater 3, maybe not so much, although it's still pretty solid here in the early game. But really, when you get into the higher tiers of the trait, Bilgewater 5 and especially Bilgewater 7, that it just really starts taking over with the cannonball procs. Now, I'm not winning this round. I mean, it's a really strong option. It's definitely overtuned, but it's not like it makes you immortal or anything. I don't really have that much on my board right now. I have a 2-star Graves. Everything else is 1-star. And I don't really have any items in play. I think I have a vest on a Poppy, but like that's not really doing anything. Also, my initial augment is not doing much of anything either, because it just gave me a training dummy and I have to wait 8 rounds for that thing to transform. All right, well, the good news of losing 2 out of the 3 early rounds is that I do get early carousel priority. The bad news is I went loss, win, loss, so I'm not on any kind of a streak here. So I've got a bunch of different options. I'm going to go ahead and take the bow here. Basically, I want to combine the 2 bows together into a rapid fire cannon, and that is because I'm going to use this item for a future Bilgewater unit, Neela, who is the 4-cost Bilgewater unit. Neela is very, very heavily overtuned in this patch as well, and Rapid Fire Cannon is one of her best items. All right, now I have another Kale in my shop here, and I actually have 2 out of 3 Kales. Antisocialmunky has 1 Kale sitting on his bench, so my suggestion was, why don't we double send the Kales? He sends me a Kale 1-star, combines into a Kale 2-star on my bench, and then I send it back to him. Unfortunately, I can't send items over to him. I would happily send him a bow and a rod so we could make a Rage Blade. He's actually having a lot of trouble trying to make items for his board. Has not quite been able to do that yet. He has not been able to find a bow or a rod yet, so he's a little delayed on his Rage Blades over there for Kale. I was able, though, as I said, to make the Rapid Fire Cannon. Now, this is not a good Graves item. I mean, you can use it, but it's not really a good Graves item. You can see he's a little bit wonky in his targeting because Graves is actually a melee unit. He might look like he's a ranged unit because he's got the gun, but no, he's actually a melee unit in this particular set. So the Rapid Fire Cannon does give him +1 range, but it does seem to have caused his AI to be just a little wonky here. So yeah, he's going to kill the Caston, but I don't think he can kill the Alawi on that other person's board. So not able to keep Antisocialmunky on a win streak there. So I've gone loss, win, which is really not what you're looking to do here. And if you look at my board, I actually have 4 pairs on the board right now. I have a Poppy pair, an Alawi pair, a Twisted Fate pair, and a Kiana pair. Yeah, not quite what you want. That's a lot of pairs to have on the board and have not hit. On the good news, Antisocialmunky is already up to 8 Kales, so he's really close to Kale 3-star. And now that the Yordle trait is not around, he doesn't have to 3-star 3 units the way that you did to activate Yordle trait. He really just needs the Kale. He doesn't really need to 3-star anything else, at least not immediately. So once he hits the 3-star Kale, he can kind of just start leveling and then figure out where he goes from there. Right now, we're thinking that Vertical Slayer is probably the way to go if you're playing through Kale, but how many Slayers and how many Demacia units to play is still a little bit unclear to us at the moment, because again, the set just came out. I'm going to go ahead and lose that round as well, so I've gone the worst possible pattern here at the start of the stage. Loss, win, loss, win, loss. Like I said, that's literally the worst possible pattern. Never on any kind of a streak and taking 3 losses to lose a little bit more health. In fact, this other team is on full win streak. They are 100 HP. They're both have not lost a round yet. So then I hit the 2-star Kiana. That actually might have been enough to let me win that last round because it was reasonably close. There were a lot of units on that other person's board that were on like 1 HP or 10% HP. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, things are starting to look a little bit better here. I'm hoping I can continue finding some more Bilgewater units. I really haven't found that many yet. Remember, both what is it? I had an Alawi sent to me by Antisocialmunky. I had one that was on my board at the very start of the game on the very first minion round. So I actually have not seen a single Alawi in the shop yet. Also, my econ, as I said, is not too good at this stage of the game. But the good news is I will get some gold drops here. That's nice. Another Kiana. If I was rerolling for rogues, I'd go for that, but nope. And this Quinn actually would be useful for Antisocial's board, but I'm going to go ahead and sell it because it got me to 30 gold. All right, this is looking better. I hit the Twisted Fate 2-star. Twisted Fate is usually just a trait bot in this team composition. There's the gold coming in from having the Zon, what is it? The Zon portal that gives us gold every time you hit make an item. And then look at that, Antisocialmunky has 2-star Poppy, or excuse me, 3-star Poppy and 3-star Kale. Unfortunately, he does not get the benefit, as I said before, of Yordle trait. That's no longer in the game. But having a pair of 3-stars is pretty nice. Now he can finally start to recover his econ and start to get to higher tiers of his board. But hey, having Kale 3-star, Poppy 3-star this early, pretty nice. Now, one thing that's different here in set 9.5 is the Radiant item that Demacia units roll. It is no longer random. It's actually fixed for each unit. Poppy in particular gets a Gargoyle Stoneplate as her Radiant item, which is very good for the early game. It does fall off a bit in the late game. But Poppy's probably not going to be getting Radiant items in the late game anyway. So for right now, that's quite good. Anyway, this is another close round. I narrowly lose this one. Gray's not quite able to make it happen. I gave him a Bloodthirster. Again, he's holding items for a future Neela, but not quite enough to get the job done. Now, I'm looking at these different options, and I was like, I kind of wish this wasn't a prismatic option. Out of these options, though, I'm going to go ahead and take the Cybernetic Bulk, just because it gives additional health to anyone who's holding an item. And then I'm going to look to put the Misfortune on my board here. I'll put a Rod on here. Misfortune deals magic damage, so she's going to use items that build out of rods. I'll also transfer the Poppy over to this Nico, who's a new unit here in the set. She has the other new trait. Well, there's a couple new traits, but the other main new trait, which is, it looks like it's Ixtal, but I think it's actually pronounced Ishtal. I'm not 100% sure there. It's the trait that has like Mesoamerican theming to it. And look, I actually got another champion duplicator. I have a lesser champion duplicator and a full champion duplicator right here. So that's pretty interesting. I've got both of these on my bench. Now, one thing I should have done is I should have put that vest on the Nico, just because she would get 500 health via my augment for that. And I know she's going to be sold later on anyway. She's just intended to be holding items for Nautilus, who's the main frontline tank in a Bilgewater team. So anyway, this fight's very close. Oh, man, look at this. Again, another close loss. I've lost 3 rounds in a row, but it feels like all of these rounds were rounds I was, got down to like 1 or 2 enemy units left at the end, and then wasn't quite able to pull it out. Good news is Antisocial did manage to get a bow for Kale, and he also managed to get a Demacia crown. So he has +1 Demacia for his team, so should be able to run probably 5 Demacia without too much trouble. There's 2 Kianas in my store. I can't really do a whole lot with them. I've also got the send back, but I don't really have any units to send over to Antisocialmunky at the moment. I will say the Ishtal portal, I should cover what that trait does. I'm actually not going to play that very much in this game. It's just for like 1 or 2 rounds. It basically adds elemental hexes to the board. You can see there's a little wind hex on the board. Shout out to Rise of the Elements set 2, which apparently everybody else hated, but I actually like that set a lot. Anyway, gain elemental hexes, which give a different bonus from game to game. At rank 2, it creates 1 hex. Rank 3 creates 2 hexes. And then rank 4, it like buffs the effects of it. And there's like, I think there's 6 of these different ones. As I said, this one in this game is wind, which I believe gives some additional attack speed, but I could be wrong on that. I don't have the list of what all these things do in front of me. So I'm up against another person who's playing a Bilgewater board. Graves is up against Neela. Is he going to be able to beat this Neela? I mentioned that Neela is extremely overtuned. No, he is not able to. Got another fight that's pretty close. 3 units left on the enemy board, but they're all very, very low HP. And the good news is Antisocial was able to end the win streak of one of the 2 players who was on a big win streak there. So he's going to be last pick on the carousel, which is bad because he needs to get a rod so he can make a Rage Blade for Kale. I'm going to be second pick. Now, I was hoping I could get that spatula because it is actually possible to craft makeable spatulas for the Bilgewater trait. It actually has taken over the spatula recipe from Demacia. It's cloak plus spatula is the recipe. So if I was able to get that spatula, I'd have good odds to be able to make a Bilgewater emblem before the end of the game. But nope, that was not available, so I just go ahead and take this belt with the intention of making a Sunfire Cape because it's a good frontliner item. And here's Nautilus. Okay, finally been able to find Nautilus. As far as what I'm going to get sent by Antisocialmunky, he is going to go ahead and send me 2 training dummies. So I'm going to go ahead and make these. And the logic behind this is I just want more frontline. It's actually you just want as much frontline as possible when playing Bilgewater because Bilgewater, the trait itself deals most of the damage. So you really just want the trait to, you really just want as much frontline as you can get so that the trait will deal damage. And of course, you want to itemize Neela, who's the main carry in the comp, at least in this patch. Itemize Misfortune, who deals a lot of damage. If you can hit Gangplank, who's the 5-cost legendary unit in a Bilgewater team comp, of course you want to put items on him. But honestly, having a really tanky frontline is probably more important than anything else. So getting additional training dummies, I mean, it's not going to provide much frontline, but it's better than nothing. So I'm happy to have that. And I actually have three training dummies right now. Note that after the 8 rounds have passed, now I get my support item. And it turns out it's actually Shroud of Stillness. So hey, Shroud of Stillness back again. I love Shroud of Stillness. It's one of my favorite items. I wish you could actually still make it, but you can't. You can only get it from augments and other places where support items pop up. So I was able to get a great Shroud on this person. This person's level 7 to my level 6. They're actually quite wealthy. This is one of the players that's been win streaking. And they're playing a 6 Sorks board, and they had 2-star Taric with good items. So I just could not get through that Taric, and they actually beat me pretty good. That round was not especially close. Now I have my chance to send some stuff to Antisocialmunky. You can see the options here. And I believe he takes the training dummies, if I remember this correctly, because he also was just looking for more frontline. I think the other options didn't do a whole lot for his Kale reroll board either. So I have actually lost, I think I've lost 5 rounds in a row right now. That has actually been pretty good for my economy, but we have been bleeding out a fair bit of health. Good news is Antisocialmunky has been really helping me out by winning. He's been on a win streak ever since he hit the Kale 3-star and the Poppy 3-star. So he's kind of been carrying my board here for the moment as I just try to limp my way up to level 7 and then try to find more Bilgewater units. I found some of them, but I haven't been finding the more expensive ones, which is a little bit unfortunate. Still, I do have 5 Bilgewater in right now. That's definitely going to help out because it does increase the damage pretty significantly. I'm looking at someone else's board who's playing Bilgewater with Neela. Bilgewater 3 is 140 flat damage and then 40% of the stored damage on the mark. Bilgewater 5 is 200 damage plus another 60% damage dealt from the stored up mark. This trait is a lot like Laser Core for people who might remember that from set 8. So it's very reminiscent of that. By the way, I lose this round again, but again, it's a 1-unit loss. All these losses have been, I think only like 1 or 2 of the losses have been blowouts. I think 4 of the 6 losses have been super close. So it's actually not that bad to lose these rounds very narrowly because it's not costing us too much health, and it actually has given me quite a bit of money after I was off to a rather bad econ start. Anyway, though, as I said, so Bilgewater, each tier of the trait gives more damage, both more flat damage and then also more damage on the stored up mark that scales up over time. The thing is, though, it really does kind of add up in exponential fashion because the more units that are on the board, like the more Bilgewater units you're playing, the more units are on the board, therefore you're getting more procs of the trait, and you're also constantly dealing more damage from higher ranks of the trait as well. Anyway, I'm going to go to level 7 and then roll a bit. But anyway, the point is it does start to get kind of multiplicative in its effects in a way that I'm not sure the designers fully intended. Anyway, I toss Vel'Koz onto the board because he has multicaster trait, but then I find a Neela, and we're going to very quickly move out of that unit, and I'm going to move into the Neela as well. I actually could make Hand of Justice here, which is another very good item on her. But instead, I looked at this. I was going to make it, and then I was like, wait a minute. No, I think I can do something a little bit better with these items. I also want to play through the Misfortune as well. And the one thing Misfortune does need is some kind of mana-generating item. So I was like, all right, let's go ahead. We'll make a Spear of Shojin. She's going to cast way more often with the Spear of Shojin. I get the 3 gold from the portal that I have. And now I'm on 6 Bilgewater, so I just need to get 1 more Bilgewater unit. Now, the only one I'm missing, unfortunately, is Gangplank, who's a 5-cost unit. So it's going to be hard to get up to 7 Bilgewater. I need to find Gangplank. And that's not too likely to happen at this stage of the game. Let's see. Out of these options here, there is a spatula here on Earth's Grab Bag. So that's a pretty good option. If I can get a cloak, I'll be able to make a Bilgewater emblem. I should have re-rolled those other options, though. But yeah, I took this. And by the way, look at what I've got here on my board as I go ahead and make an Infinity Edge for Neela just to amplify her damage. I have 4 champion duplicators here. I have 2 of the full champion duplicators, and then I have 2 of the lesser champion duplicators. This is a ridiculous number of champion duplicators. It's a shame that they're not all full champion duplicators. And by the way, and then there's a Neela here, and I was like, you know what? Let's just let's just go ahead and duplicate the Neela. There's no reason to waste time here. I'm also going to pick up Zaya and put her on the board. And the other thing is I need to get that, I'm just going to duplicate and make Neela 2-star because Neela is, like, as I said, super overtuned in this patch. Neela's traits are Bilgewater and Vanquisher. Vanquisher is a trait that gives extra crit damage and extra crit chance. It's actually basically just the assassin trait without the jumping into the back lines from previous sets. But now I have 2-star Neela. And Neela's a 4-cost unit, and as I said, her stats are set way too high. I also have very good items on her. Right now, her best item is Rapid Fire Cannon. I also have the Bloodthirster, which is probably her second best item. And then I've got an Infinity Edge, which is just going to magnify her damage. Wow, look at her. She's actually killing 2 boards full of champions here and winning that round pretty easily overall. All right, so now I'm going to look to go to level 8, and I'm also going to send this Fiora over to Antisocialmunky's board. Or actually, no, I guess I did roll a little bit more. I guess I was trying to hit something else. So I do hit another Neela. I guess maybe I didn't have to use my champion duplicator. But I think at some point around here, I decided to stop rolling. I think I was looking for Nautilus 2-star. Oh, I know what it was. I was looking for Nautilus 2-star and Misfortune 2-star. And I thought I'd stay here and roll a little bit before anything else. Let me go ahead and cover Neela's ability while we're here as you watch Neela just dumpstering people over here on the board. So as I said, Bilgewater, Vanquisher are her traits. Her ability is called Formless Blade, not Braid, that would be hilarious. Costs 60 mana. Passive, attack striking a cone. Deal physical damage to up to 2 additional enemies. Every third attack strikes in a line for physical damage and grants 25% attack speed. The active is gain a shield for 3 seconds and dash to a safe location. So, as you said, attack striking a cone, she can hit more. She can hit up to 2 additional enemies at once. And it's really nice to give her a rapid fire cannon because then she can hit more enemies. She can still only hit 3 enemies at once, but she can hit more enemies further away with the rapid fire cannon. Plus, it also gives her attack speed and some range. Now, on this carousel, I really want this cloak because cloak plus spatula is the Bilgewater recipe. And remember, I got that spatula from the Earth's grab bag that I took on the last augment. So this is going to make it easy to play into 7 Bilgewater. I can just take out the Kiana, who shouldn't be on this board anyway, and play into 7 Bilgewater. All right, so we're going to look to go ahead and grab this Graves, but now I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to take out the Kiana. I'm going to put in Set because I want to get Juggernaut trait in play. I'm going to turn Set into a Juggernaut. He'll be replaced later on by probably someone like Nasus. I'd like to get another Juggernaut in play or some other frontliner. And then now I'm up to 7 Bilgewater. So as my past self is helpfully highlighting, it was very short there. 7 Bilgewater is another big jump. 350 flat damage plus 100% of the marked damage is dealt by the cannonball. And of course, there's also 7 units applying it. So now that we have 2-star Neela and 7 Bilgewater in, this comp's just going to start absolutely destroying people. This is very early to have 7 Bilgewater in. Again, the emblem makes a huge deal. And if you look at Neela, she's like not even being scratched in these fights. She's just destroying everything without much. I guess she finally took some damage at the end of the fight. But look, the Bilgewater trait dealt most of the damage in that fight. All I do need is for my front line to stand up there long enough to survive, and then the cannonballs are just going to wreck everything. Like I said, it's very similar to the, excuse me, it's very similar to Laser Core trait from, I guess, set 8, in the sense that you would want to just build a tanky board and have the lasers do most of the damage. Now, because I was on a 4-match winning streak, I went ahead and leveled to level 8. That allowed me to put Zaya back in there. Zaya is the 4-cost Vanquisher unit, and she'll put Vanquisher trait back in for Neela. I'm basically playing through Neela and just the fact that I have 7 Bilgewater in on my board, which is really, really strong. As I said, Vanquisher just gives extra crit chance and extra crit damage. Also, their abilities can innately crit without Infinity Edge or Jeweled Gauntlet. So Neela does have an IE, which I suppose is somewhat wasted, but they actually buffed the crit strike and crit damage. In past sets, having more than 100% crit chance would be pretty wasted from a statistical perspective. They actually buffed that, so having more than 100% crit chance converts into damage at a better rate in this set than it did previously. All right, so we've got the extra Neela. I figured I would just hold extra Neelas, in part because it makes it harder for other players to hit Neela 2-star, but we do have an outside chance of hitting Neela 3-star between the two of us and with those champion duplicators. Other option, hitting Nautilus 3-star or Misfortune 3-star. I would love to hit both if I could. Between the two, if I had to pick, I would probably pick Nautilus 3-star because, as I said, if I can just get frontline, then the Bilgewater trait is going to kill everything. So as I said, I probably would just like to get that if at all possible. Neil is already fully itemized, and I get another bow here, which is kind of interesting. There we go. We finally have 2-star Nautilus. And Jarvan pops up, so I'm happy to look to play Jarvan over the set. Now, that is going to cost me the Juggernaut trait, but Jarvan's just a better unit, and it does give me a Strategist trait, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and make a Jeweled Gauntlet for Misfortune. Now I can pull another item from the Tome of Traits. I'm looking here, or not Tome of Traits, from the Final Component Anvil, and I'm like, out of all these options, let's just stick a bow on Alawi. Remember, she's going to get 500 additional health from that, and I'll also make the Giant Slayer for Misfortune. So these are pretty good MF items. Her mana cost is, I believe, 50 in the current patch. Let me just look that up again. Yeah, it's 50 mana in the current patch, so blue buff is better than Shojin, but really either one is pretty good. You just want one of the two if possible. By the way, this fight's pretty close, but this person is actually going to beat... No, I thought they were going to beat me, but no. They're actually already level 9, and I think that they have 8 Sorks in, so a pretty strong board. They also had 2-star Ari, but I was barely able to clutch that one out. And then we pop over to Antisocialmunky's board, and we win that half of the fight as well, too. All right, so now I believe I'm going to slow roll here for a while at level 8. I would like to be able to 3-star either Misfortune or the Nautilus, because remember, I have 3 champion duplicators on my bench. It should be pretty easy to 3-star at least one of these. By the way, I'm going to get an Anvil. I went for the Spatula Plus component. I was hoping that there would be a cloak here. Unfortunately, there was not a cloak. So if there had been a cloak, I could have made Bilgewater another Bilgewater emblem, and then I could have looked into playing 9 Bilgewater, which is just absolutely absurd. 9 Bilgewater is, it basically doubles the benefit. 350 flat damage to 650, and then the mark damage is 150%. Plus, nearby enemies take 50% of the cannonball damage. It's completely insane. You can see 7 Bilgewater is already very, very strong, but getting up to 9 is just completely nuts. So that's not a possibility, but I will go ahead and make a Juggernaut emblem. So that way Nautilus does, in fact, get the Juggernaut trait in anyway. And I just stuffed it on Alawi because I really didn't have another person to put that on. Really, as I said, was not another option. I would have preferred to put it on someone else, but I couldn't put it on Jarvan, couldn't put it on Nautilus. There weren't really any other frontliners on my board. So anyway, we are fighting this person, but oh, check it out. This person actually had a Azir 3-star. Yeah, there's an Azir 3-star in the lobby. So no, we weren't able to beat that board, and that's going to be an issue. We're going to have to deal with that player. Jason, who is the rest of his name I'm not going to read. You can read it for yourself over there. So we're going to have to deal with the Azir 3-star. The good news is Azir is one of the weakest of the 3-cost one of the weakest of the 3-star 4 costs, if that makes sense. Conversely, Nasus is probably the strongest 4-cost 3-star, or at least was in the first half of the set. So anyway, I'm looking to roll here, trying to get some more stuff for Antisocialmunky. There is a Mordekaiser here, so that could be Mordekaiser 2-star for his board. And we're going to try to see if we can hit some of these other units. There's another Nautilus, so that's going to get me up to 4 Nautiluses. I also have 4 Misfortunes. Again, I'm not particularly close, but I thought I'd just stay here at level 8 and slow roll and try to 3-star at least one of these because I've got all the champion duplicators. Now, one other thing I will mention is the training dummy that has the Shroud of Stillness. I've been getting a lot of value from the Shroud of Stillness in this. I've actually been able to shroud most of the enemy teams in fight after fight after fight because now that the support items have been taken out of the game as normal items, people are not looking for Zephyrs or Shrouds anymore. So you can, they don't position around them nearly as much because they're kind of not in the game, or at least people aren't expecting to see them on a training dummy. So it's a little bit easier to get these items and hit the enemy team. Plus, remember, I have the cybernetic augment that causes anything that has an item on it to gain 500 health. Yes, that actually does apply to the training dummy too. So that training dummy has 500 extra health, which I'm pretty happy with. Now, I am last pick on the carousel because I've actually been on a big win streak. I think I'm on a 7-match winning streak, 7 or 8-match winning streak, which has just been awesome. So I'm last pick on this carousel, and I'm going to take one of the new items. This one is called Evan Shroud. It is the replacement for the old... What is this the replacement for? I'll have to look it up. I don't know the recipe off the top of my head because this is still so new here. Let's see. Where is it? I got to find it on the cheat sheet. Here it is. It's the old Shroud. And duh, it has Shroud in the title. This one's a really interesting item. It's basically a support item, so it's generally not good to put on your main tank, and I don't love putting it on Nautilus, but I don't really have a better target. What it does is it gives 30% armor shred to enemies within 2 hexes, and then grants 20 armor and magic resistance for the first 10 seconds of combat. So like I said, not a great straight line tank item. I guess I could have put that on Jarvan, and he maybe could have carried it into the back line, but I think it was still a little bit better to put it on the Nautilus. You generally would want to put this on your off tank. Like if you have a secondary tank, put your better tank items on the first target and then this on like the secondary target. But it's quite good in a team composition like the one that we're running here. By the way, as you see the board coming over to reinforce, but Neela clutches it out anyway and knocks this player out of the lobby. That's a bit of a shame for them, but yeah, they are out. So anyway, Evan Shroud is good on a team that has all physical damage. And it's actually pretty good here because the cannonballs from Bilgewater trait are physical damage. So that 30% shred on the armor of the enemy team is pretty good here. Like I said, shredding the armor of the enemy team means the cannonballs will do additional damage. So not bad. Not a bad item to take here. Even though it's something you probably would not go out of your way to make. It's not like an item you'd be looking to slam in the early game or anything like that, but a decent support item to say the least. All right, now this person is playing a Sorks board. They believe they have 8 Sorks. Yeah, they also have 2-star Rise Sork, and they have 2-star Ahri Sork. So like this is a very, very strong board over here. They're also level 10, so they have 10 units on the board. Now, I thought I was going to win that round anyway, but then Ahri got her cast off, and she just deleted the entire board because she's 8 Sorks Ahri. But the good news is Antisocial or someone was able to beat their, I think was able to beat their partner. So that team is down to 1 HP. So that's good. We probably won't have to worry about that team too much longer. Now the bad news is you see that person who has the 28 HP and is on the big win streak. I mentioned this before, but they have a 0 3-star. And that's not great. A 0 3-star is not really what you're looking for here. So we're going to have to try to deal with that board and do our best to overcome the fact that they have a 4-star 3-cost over there. Good news is I have managed to hit Misfortune, another Misfortune 2-star. So I have 6 Misfortunes. So I'm getting close to the 3-star. I wish I did a few more Nautiluses. As I said, I'd like to hit 3-star versions of both units. But that seems to be maybe not quite so much in the cards. We have an outside chance at Mordekaiser 3-star or Neela 3-star because we have been seeing those units. Out of these items, don't really love any of these. I actually wanted a frontline tank item. And there's another Evan Shroud, but I already have an Evan Shroud. So really wanted another tank item for Nautilus there. And I do not find it, unfortunately. So there's another Heimer there. By the way, do I pick up this Heimer in the store? I definitely should for Antisocialmunky. All right, he's going to send me... So he found a Gangplank. He's going to send me this GP. I probably should have held the Twisted Fate. And by the way, then I'm going to use the cheap champion duplicators. That was the one that can only be used on 3-cost units. And I did pick up the Heimer, fortunately. But I go ahead and use this on Gangplank. And I wish that I had picked up the Gangplank sooner because I could have put an item on him. I was forced to take the Last Whisper on the Xayah. She actually applies Last Whisper really well because her Feather Toss hits most of the board, as you see us knock another player out of the lobby. And jump over to Antisocialmunky's board. Are we going to be able to get over here in time to win? And it looks like we are. That's actually quite important because now in the duel with this other team, we have the health advantage. Quite important. And so now I still have the champion duplicator. So what I'd love to do is find one more Gangplank and then champion duplicate him. GP is the 5-cost Bilgewater unit. He's kind of the face of this set. They've kind of designed the entire set around him. And he has a big splashy ability. It's called the Dreadway, but it's basically the pirate ship. He can actually be played in melee form or in ranged form, although most people so far have been playing him in ranged form, kind of like Jace from set 6. But basically, if you put him in melee form, he gains extra armor and MR, and his attacks burn the target. It's like a Morello's or Sunfire effect. And then in the back row, his attacks give him extra mana. People have mostly been playing him in the back from what I've been seeing thus far. Anyway, I'm up against the Azir 3-star board. So, I mean, it's like, can I beat the Azir 3-star? And then, yes, there's the big splashy Gangplank ultimate. He summons a huge pirate ship to hit the enemy team. This is actually pretty close. Can we win this? Oh, man, look at that. Look how close that was. So we do not kill the Azir, but we did get him down to 1 HP, so that reinforcement didn't really do anything, and Antisocial won the round on the other end. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and level 9 now. Hopefully I can find one more Gangplank, what I'm really looking for there. So can we find one more GP and then duplicate him? There's an Aatrox. Doesn't really fit this board, though. Nor does the Bel'Veth here. I just am playing Azir because he gives me another rank of strategist, which I think is pretty good here. Anything that makes my front line a little tankier and gives extra AP to my units in the back is pretty good. So now we're up against that Sorks board. I'm going to try to hit my Shroud on Ahri. I did manage to get the Shroud on Azir 3-star in the last round, so that's pretty good. But they shifted Ahri just a little bit to the side. So not quite going to hit that. Actually, I think this is a 6 Sorks board. It was the person who got eliminated who had 8 Sorks. But they do have Ari 2-star. Now, the good news is their Ari's itemization is not amazing. You really don't want Static Shiv on Ari. That should be on a supporting unit, not on Ari herself. So we actually win that round pretty easily. And now we're going to go over to the Azir 3-star board. Can we beat that? It's reasonably close, but no. I mean, it is Azir 3-star. Good news is that team's on 1 HP now. So all we have to do is beat their partner one more time. And that's that. Now, there's a double strategist emblems. I would love to get one of these strategist emblems. That would take me up to 4 strategists. That would be fantastic. But the other team takes both of them. I was like, wait, what? They took both of them? Yeah, it turns out they're actually both playing. Strategist boards there. One of them has 6 Sorks with I think 2 strategists, and the other one is playing. We know Azir, which is of course a comp that's going to want. By the way, here I make a mistake. I want to put this on GP, and then I accidentally put it on the wrong unit. That's just a misclick there, putting it on the Azir. I was like, that's disappointing. That's not what I wanted there. Again, can I find one more GP for GP 2-star? Again, his there, and then there is a Heimerdinger, but I don't really have the gold to get his upgrades in play just yet. GP's pirate ship, by the way, sails across the board, crashes into the first enemy hit, deals magic damage in a 3-hex radius. Allies that the ship pass through gain attack speed and are immune to crowd control. All right, so this is the Azir 3-star player. How can I do against this person's board? I did get a perfect shroud again. Really should not have allowed me to shroud their Neela and their Azir at the same time. Bilgewater is just doing an absolutely absurd amount of damage, so we're going to cut through the Neela. We've got everything except the Azir. MF, you got this? Can we finish this off? Yes! That was the cannonball proc from the Misfortune coming down. And it's really good we won that round because Antisocial did lose to the other player. We're down to 5 HP. We did not want to go down to 1 HP in this matchup and potentially face getting knocked out. So I never used the last champion duplicator. I wanted to use it on Gangplank, but didn't find another one right there. But, I hit the 2-star Neela pretty early on. I got the emblem to be able to get Bilgewater 7 in, and it just ran absolutely over the rest of this lobby because this trait is highly overtuned. We are expecting a hotfix nerf to this trait. It is not balanced right now. It's actually making the game not that much fun to play outside of like trying it once just for fun. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll see how many games we actually end up doing here in set 9.5, but time will tell. Until then, hope everybody is having a great week. Take care, folks, and I will see you again soon.